I'm here to tell you about Fender guitars, Ibanez guitars, Gibson Epiphone guitars, and Washburn guitars. It is my firm belief that Washburn is indeed the best company when it comes to guitars. Here I have a PV Raptor. It is an example of a Fender Strat guitar, and thus I will start my speech. Fender guitars. No one should buy one. I made that mistake and got this. Fender whammy bars that crack. Let me start with that. This whammy bar looks thick, as you can probably see. But this is only because it is a replacement. I had to get this whammy bar replaced because the original one snapped in half inside the guitar. Because Fender guitars are poorly built. Even though they're cheap, you shouldn't buy something just because it's cheap. It should be well crafted too. Fender guitars are not well crafted. They have these weird jet offs, as you can see, that get in the way of your playing ability because your hand gets stuck in here. You can't reach the entire neck. And they have these awful toggle switches that are just a pain to move, and they should flow very easily, which they don't. The mid-range for a Fender guitar is about $500. The high end is about $1,000, and that's just too expensive for a bad guitar. Ibanez guitars are alright, I guess. Unfortunately, I do not have an Ibanez to show you, but I'll use the Fender as bases. Ibanez's are just knockoffs of Fenders. They have the weird jet-offs that come halfway up the neck too. They have 5-way toggles, tuner locks, which makes it incredibly difficult to tune any guitar. And what else can I say about them? They're just visually unpleasing and disgusting. And, 5-way toggles, like I said, awful. The only good thing Ibanez has on Fender is a Floyd Rose whammy bar instead of a generic like this, which means you can pull it back and push it down. Let me show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, if you hit a chord, it only goes down and goes back to its original standpoint. You can't pull it back to make the notes go higher. You can only make the notes go lower. That's all I really have to say about those two particular brands. Is not the guitar for me and not a guitar for anybody if you want quality. Next, let me move on to Gibson Epiphone. Most people out there think that Gibson and Epiphone are the top brands when it comes to buying a guitar. I'm here to tell you why that's wrong. This here is an Epiphone Wildcat. It's fairly new. I believe it was about $350. Nice guitar overall, but that doesn't say a lot when it comes to Gibson and Epiphone. Those guitars are just bad altogether. Gibson and Epiphone do awful business. They get mahogany, which is illegal. They get their wood from illegal trades and have been raided by the U.S. government not once, but twice. They have to keep up with supply and demand because they have grown in popularity. So not only are they pumping out guitars, but they're pumping out poor quality guitars. They're coming out having cut corners, not in reference to the cutaway, but in reference to their cutting corners and what they do, they're putting them together much more sloppy than they have in the past. They are just not good. This is not a new Gibson or Epiphone, because Gibson owns Epiphone. It's just probably 5 years old or something like that. But now Gibsons are just bad. I wouldn't go anywhere near a Gibson anymore, I'm sad to say. Mid-range is $500 to $600 on these. Yeah, you can get Gibsons all the way up to like 10 grand, which is just outrageous for an illegal guitar. They're so popular, they're cutting corners, like I said, and it's just a rip-off. You don't want to pay lots of money for a guitar that's been rated by the U.S. government, like I said before, and that's has the corners cut. I'll give you a demo of how this one sounds. This is a shining example of an Epiphone, so don't make your opinion based on this. This is one of the high brands. This has a whammy bar on it. Most Gibsons and Epiphones do not. Not only this can push down, you do have a little bit of pull up even though you don't want to, because that'll break all 6 strings on your guitar. It has a 3-way toggle, which is my personal preference. You have P90 pickups in here. And if you go up, you have the neck pickup. Middle is all positions. Down is off currently for distortion, but that would be the bridge pickup. Why I like these, you can go. Overall, a nice guitar, good set neck, F-holes, which give it an acoustic blues sound. But like I said, this is an older Epiphone, not a new one with poor quality. Lastly, we get to my guitar of choice. A beautiful guitar company, one with great visual, great design, no weird jet ups, no illegal wood. They have a mid-range of $300 to $400. The high end for one of these for a Washburn is about $2 grand. And that's only if you want an artist model. And here, I'll show you a great Washburn and why you should indeed pick a Washburn when buying a guitar. As I've stated before, it doesn't have the weird jet off up here that blocks your playability. Have almost full access to the neck. It has a 3-way toggle switch, and this one glides instead of clicks. Dual humbuckers, personal preference, because you don't have single pickups, you have 2 double pickups, which adds for more volume and better playing. One thing I haven't mentioned yet is the fretboards on these guitars. Fender has tightly packed frets, so it's hard to get your fingers in between to play. Gibson, slightly bigger frets, but not quite big enough. Washburn, perfect size. As you can see, great paint scheme on this. Just looks visually pleasing, it's put together well. This guitar guitar stays in tune very well. Fairly cheap, but good quality. And I'll let you hear how this sounds. See, it glides so much easier when you have a better three-way toggle in here. I'm not forcing it, even though it looks it. That's gliding right in my hand. Couldn't ask for a better toggle. I can get in the high notes and still get my middle finger, like my thickest finger, besides my thumb. I can still fit it in between one of the highest frets. You have good spacing, so you're not stretching your fingers out at the thicker frets. As you can see, the black complements the paint scheme very well. Great chrome hardware. If I had to make a complaint about Washburn, I don't think I could. Because, you know, great guitar. So in conclusion, I would play you a little bit on this Washburn, but in conclusion, Fender is crap, Gibson is illegal, Ibanez isn't anything to look at, so you want a guitar that you want to look at and play, in Washburn for life. And just to show you any music style go on this, you can do rock,